This forum is really a multi-stakeholder body. We have everyone from farmers to upstream science, public, private and civil society all working together. And that really does bring some challenges. I think many of the points that are made in the paper are very relevant, and we face these day by day. We're dealing with issues, for example, of the wicked problems of agriculture and rural development, things that require multiple actors to actually achieve success. We're really working to break away from traditional linearity in research thinking, this sort of pipeline view that the scientist is the expert who does the work, who then transfers it to an extensionist who takes it through to the farmer. We're turning that on its head and saying, actually, if we're going to achieve real development, we have to put the resource poor farmer at the center of these processes, so they're an active participant in the innovation process. And this actually challenges many preconceptions. It challenges the way that institutions traditionally work, the way they think about their power relationships, about who actually is setting the agenda, about who it's for. And this means that we work really, none of this work can happen by direct confrontation with any of the institutions. Institutions have walls, they have boundaries that they define for themselves and by which they see themselves. So what we're doing is actually working to break down those walls, to challenge those boundaries, to enable different sectors to work together much more effectively and really achieve development together. Because if it's not delivered by everybody, then actually it won't work. We need that collective ownership of these ideas and these principles. What makes GFAR work? Primarily, it's a common vision. It's having a common belief at the core of it that actually what we're doing is working together in order to make development more effective. So I think any networked action has to start with that common belief. If we don't have a common vision, then we go our different ways. And what we're grappling with all the time, I think, is the essential tribalism of people. That we tend always to converge around those that we know best, that share our apparent value system, that we feel we can work with because they're good people or they share ideas and our thinking. But in global development, we have to really challenge ourselves on that and reflect on who really are we benefiting, who are we working for. And when we start from those principles, then we can really start to make some big action. And a lot of our work is really at the core of this network is not to set the agenda, it's not to set what should be done. It's about catalyzing change. It's about helping people to work differently. It's often, frankly, about holding a mirror up to institutions and saying, well, you say you're doing this, but actually, are you? And how about you think about it this way? So some of the key principles, I think, come down to issues like helping people to understand things in a different way. They come down to communication. They come down to coordination. Inspiring change rather than dictating change. We, as a forum, have very little financial power, very little clout in the traditional sense of institutions. What we do have is the ability to help people to challenge each other constructively and think positively and differently about what they're doing and why they're doing it. And we're in this middle of this long-standing challenge of the gulf between science and society. This has been articulated back to C.P. Snow, talking about the two cultures. And really what we're facing in agriculture, and that culture word is very specific, is the issue of farmers having every day to deal with many, many challenges, and having essentially to know a little about a lot. Science, on the other hand, has the opposite. It's trying to extract through, from Descartes, right through to the basics of how systems work. So scientists tend to know a lot about a little. And both have their own belief structures, their own systems that they work with. What we're doing is trying to bridge those gaps, help people to understand things through a fresh perspective. In terms of network management and how it works, it really comes down to engagement, to ownership by key individuals who can inspire others. It's inspiration coupled with perspiration, as they say, because it takes a great deal of work to manage these transactions, these communications, to keep people aligned at least with the same principles, even though they will always have the different perspectives, the different attitudes, the different power structures. And the other core of this is equity. It's absolutely fundamental to us working in development to have equity in the system. When we think about the resource poor, How do we make sure that the advances that we make in agriculture and research or whatever are actually going to benefit the poor, and that they're going to be given equal access and opportunity through those? And this is where we run up against many existing power structures, based often on money rather than how people actually interact themselves, and based also on perceived historical ways that the system has been. So by working together, we're really opening out this game and helping people to feel an accountability to each other. It's not a formal accountability, but it's actually by being public, by being open, transparent, inclusive in the dialogues. These issues come on the table and encourage people to reflect on themselves and how they can change and how they can change their institutions. So fundamentally in networked action, we're really working to bring that collective change, to inspire change, to change attitudes, behaviors, beliefs, to break down existing systems where they're not working, to help them make new formulations that can work more effectively. In the process, we run up against institutions, but that's the game. And it's also about helping people to listen to others, to take advantage of the value of other perspectives in changing their way they work. Thank you very much.